Hey guys, so today we're going to continue to work in the adult themed dollhouse, the Tease and Please sex shop. Now this is going to be a two-part video. I shall be uploading the second half soon, so please do keep an eye out for that. I have quite a lot to fit into this short 14-minute video, so we're just going to crack straight on with it, and I hope that you enjoy. So I was recently going through Pinterest trying to come up with different ideas for me to add into this project. And let me just say I'm finding some pretty strange stuff. But one thing which I found, which I absolutely loved, and I'd never seen anything like this before, was a side table. And it was basically a giant stiletto. And I thought that that was such an awesome piece of furniture and a great idea. So I decided to create this to have as my side tables, which I'm going to need for an upcoming project. Now, obviously, if I'm going to have a stiletto shoe, it is going to have to be a red bottom. The files for the shoes, it is a free file. I'll leave the link in the description box for that in case you ever want to create one of these for yourself. For the actual table, I'm using a mold which I got from Temu. I showed that in a review at some point last year. It's actually for a wind chime. I've not actually made a wind chime out of it. I did play around with it a little bit. And then when I was coming around to thinking of how I was going to make this table, I suddenly remembered, I know. So I'm going to use some resin and use this as my mold basically. So I mixed some alcohol ink in the color ruby with a little bit of glitter, and I'm using UV resin. To make it appear as though the tabletop is resting on top of the stiletto, I'm using a clear plastic straw which a colleague had gifted to me a couple of weeks ago. They're definitely coming in really handy for this project because I actually used one on my stationary video a couple of weeks back. So once I put the red resin in, I cured that with the UV lamp, and then I added some clear resin on top of that for a doming effect, just to clear up any imperfections. Then for the top part of the table, I'm just going to use clear resin as is. I'm using the lighter so that I can pop any surface bubbles that may come up to the top. And then I just needed to place my straw down into the resin and hold it in place whilst the resin cured under that UV lamp. I gave the resin maybe around about 6 minutes under the UV lamp to cure, and then I added some more clear resin on the top just to, one, clear away any imperfections, and to give a nice dome effect on the top. Now this resin is new to me. I've never used this brand before, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I've used it for a couple of projects on this project, and I only got this resin a few days ago. So I'll leave the links to this in case you want to try this if you're looking for a resin. Obviously I don't know if it yellows yet. It says it doesn't, but as is, very impressed with it. Now for the red bottoms, they're going to be a patent leather, so I'm using some Vallejo high gloss to give them a nice little leathery shine. And then I stuck my shoes down onto the base just using the tacky glue. So whilst I glue the shoe into place, I just want to take a moment to say hello to any new viewers on the channel. My name is Xander. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you've not yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video and come say hello in the comments. For me to really turn these tables into a pair of showcase, I did need to add something extra. And for that, I decided to add Christian Louboutin's signature logo onto the inside of the shoe. For me to do this, I went onto the internet and I found an image of the logo. I uploaded that onto Cricut Design Space. I changed it from the color black, which it was, into the signature color of gold, and I printed that out onto some decal paper. Now, ideally, I would have done this step a few steps back before it was actually turned into a table, but I was actually waiting for a delivery of that decal softener to arrive into the post. Now, I did love this table before, but honestly, the moment that this logo went inside the shoe, it just really finished it off for me. So now we're moving on to the second project in this project, and this is the first mannequin. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually making the stand just in the same way which I made the table, except I'm using one of the smaller circles on the silicone mold. For the actual mannequins which I use, the male inside this one and the female in my next video, these are actually free files that you can find on the internet. I will leave the link in the description below. I first of all gave the mannequin a coat of Mr. Super Clear because I'm using these nail art stickers, which I also got in a Temu haul, and I'm going to use these as the tattoos. I used a rose, a Mickey Mouse on the arm, which I do remove later on, and there are some crossbones there, but I thought as my name is Xander, I shall flip it to the side and have the letter X. I then took it outside and I gave, I believe, 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear to take the shine off of the stickers. To attach my male mannequin to the base, I domed some clear resin and placed it on top and basically just sealed it and held it into place using the strength of the resin rather than a glue. Now, as this is a sex shop, my mannequin is going to need some sort of clothing. So I decided to use some polymer clay. Now, I've never used this type of polymer clay. This is the leather effect. I don't have much experience with polymer clay at all. It's something which I really do want to practice and get used to in the future. This is probably my first serious play with polymer clay. But my idea here is to make him some leather clothing. I think that's quite appropriate for the setup which he's in. And so to do this, I rolled out the polymer clay and then I run it through a pasta machine. This clay is really, really soft. It was actually really nice to work with, though it was quite difficult to cut because when you cut into it, it kind of it has a texture and it's almost feathery when you cut in it, so it was a little bit difficult. But basically I cut it into strips and I use some 4mm jump rings in the color gold, and then I wrap them around the body. Now this material is actually really flexible when it is baked apparently, but I thought that as I was going to need to bend the polymer clay around the jump rings and around the body, I thought I would put it onto my mannequin raw. It did actually work out for me. Obviously, putting a heat gun on polymer clay is one thing, but putting a heat gun on a plastic 3D printed mannequin which doesn't like heat was a bit of a risk. But when I did heat it up, I took my time with it. I didn't let it sit in any place at any one time, and as a result, it came out fine. There were no burns and there was no melting of plastic, but it did cut the clay. Now, as he's wearing underwear, he had to have something packed inside there. And as you can see, my sculpting isn't fantastic at all in any way. I don't know how to use polymer clay, how to handle it, how to take away those imperfections or anything like that at this point. But like I say, going forward in the future, and especially with this project, I feel like there's going to be a lot which I'm going to need to sculpt by hand. I've actually just remembered 3 things which I have sculpted previously for other projects. I sculpted a book, a candle, and some apples, but that is literally as far as my experience with polymer clay goes. And I found this, sculpting this underwear, really quite difficult. So as he's wearing leather underwear, I had to give him a collar, so it was just the same process. I made a slice and then I added a jump ring, and then I attached that with some liquid polymer clay. Once all of that was done, I just used a little bit of black acrylic paint just to neaten up some little areas. Now, the easiest project of them all was making the handcuffs. I've had these handcuffs since I got the dollhouse because I knew exactly what I was going to do with this dollhouse. So I went online and I found these little handcuff charms, which are so cute. So to make them, I'm just using some chain, which I got from Temu, and some leftover jump rings, which I used in my previous video, which was the miniature condom video. Now this which I'm using here is actually a dental flosser. I've been using these for quite a while, and as soon as I started using these, I instantly thought of a paddle. And so I have a few of these which I've kept aside specifically for this project. They do come connected in a row, so I had to trim off the connector part and just sand it down with the emery board. Something which I'm looking at getting more of in my craft stash is beads. I do actually have some coming in an order from Temu on the way to me now. I'm hoping that they're going to be within the next couple of days actually. And because I'm noticing more and more beads really do come in handy for miniature projects. So I used a larger bead for the top half of the paddle, and my reason for that was so that I could connect the toothpick as my main handle. I then had to trim down or shave down the handle just a little bit because my next bead was just a little bit too narrow. To give this paddle a little bit of something something, I decided to create a flogging tail. To do that, I used some wax cotton, and because the cotton has that wax on it, it allows me to bend and manipulate into a shape. And for the shape, I wanted it to have a little bit of movement. As you know, this is going to be flogging. I didn't want it just draping straight down on the floor. So I decided to go with a more of like a ponytail kind of kink, just to make it look like there's a little bit of movement. To tie the whole piece together, I'm using some black model acrylic paint, and then I'm going to use something which is completely new to me, and these are chrome nail powders. Now, I've never used these before and I don't really know how to use them, but I've seen them a lot from some like resin artists and so on YouTube. So I thought that I'd give them a try. And I'm just buffering it onto the painted surface, and then I use a top coat of clear nail varnish. I then had to repaint the paddle half of it because I didn't seal the plastic first. The paint was actually coming off on my hands, but as soon as I repainted it and sealed it with that top coat, it was fine. I then gave it a coat of the red powder, and then that gave me more of a purple kind of reddy purple kind of tint. Okay, so now I'm going to make the little love heart signs which go on the tables. You don't actually see me make the black one, which is the one which I used in the end on the table. I'm actually going to make the red one. So I'm just using some clear resin and this really beautiful red glitter. So the actual mold itself I got on Temu. I did show that on a Temu haul. I think it might be called something like resin supplies or something. I can't quite remember. But it's a really nice mold, and these would make really nice earrings or something like that. It's probably what it's meant for, to be honest. So like I say, I don't use the red one on this project, but it does come back again in my next project. Something which you didn't see me add in was some red alcohol ink. And I think I used the colour ruby to back that. For me to fill in the inlay of where the words actually are, I'm just using some white acrylic paint. And I used a silicone mould to just to kind of pack all of the paint inside the words. I dried it on the heat gun, which only takes a few moments, and then wiped away the excess with a baby wipe. For the B, for Be Mine, it does get covered with the white, so I just use the alcohol marker to paint in the inside parts of the B. The hearts were really nice without the dome in, but I thought I'd go that extra mile just to give them that something something. Like I say, anytime when you use resin, you just use your lighter or a flame just to break off any surface bubbles. So like I say, these aren't being used inside this video, but the black one, which is definitely more on brand with the mannequin, is the one which is going to be on the table. And then finally, to display the items, I'm using this table which I got from Temu. I gave it a couple of coats of black matte spray paint just to finish it off and tie everything together. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, there will be a part 2 coming up very soon, so do keep an eye out for that. If you've not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, give me a like, leave me a comment, and I'll see you soon. Bye.